So Manuela, thank you so much for joining this podcast because I'm very curious after the culture change that you and the rest of the team headed up at Zurich Airport. We met at a seminar a couple of months ago, and I was really intrigued by your story. However, before we get into that, can you tell me a little bit about Zurich Airport? Because I understand there are about 1,700 people working there in a variety of different roles. Can you tell me a little bit about, the type of activities and the type of work that you, as a Zurich Airport AG, are responsible for?
Yes, of course. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Dirk. Yes, here at the Zurich Airport work around 30,000 people in 300 companies, but in our company at the Flughafen Zürich AG, they work around 1,700 people in 70 different jobs. So you have to imagine we are around 600 people working in office jobs here at the Circle and around 1,100 people working in the front jobs. So we have different jobs like we have bus drivers, we do all the cleaning, we do the maintenance of the airport. And of course, also the airport authority, so the ones who are looking after the security and the safety of the airport. We have an airport steering who is managing that everything works smoothly at the airport. We do the electricity here. We do all the buildings. So we also have a big real estate department, the commercial things. So you see, we have a big variety of different jobs, and this is also a thing that makes it really nice to work here because we have so many different people jobs here.
Yeah, you have a very diverse, let's say, composition of the workforce with a number of, let's say, completely different jobs, which I think must make your job very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, a couple of years ago, as I said, you and the other members of the leadership team decided to embark and initiate a culture change project. Where did the need for that culture change came from? What was wrong with the previous culture?
No, there was nothing wrong, but you remember, as everyone, like 5 years ago when the pandemic COVID-19 started. So our journey started in spring 21. There we have done an online management meeting because at this time it was not possible that everyone comes together. And the pandemic already changed a lot of things, also the way we work. You remember we went home, so home office, online meetings. And this was something that before in our company didn't exist. So we had no home office, no online meetings. Everyone was always here. So at this management event, we asked the people, what do you like most about our company, and where do you see room for improvement? And the top issues were that they said that working across teams was not good enough, that people were not open to change, and that we needed more digital innovation. And for us, it was a clear feedback. And I thought, okay, they gave us this feedback, so we can't ignore it. And we wanted to work on this topic. But then we decided that seeing or being in this time of Corona, where so much is changing, that is important that we not only look on these themes, but that we look on the mega trends, that we look how the world is changing and how this will affect us as an airport. And then with the top management team, we have done a workshop where we looked at all these mega trends. And of course, one mega trend is new work. So the change from human resources to human relations. And out of this came then the idea that we wanted to work on our values, that we wanted to create new values, values that allows us to adapt quickly, to become more flexible, and we wanted to establish a culture of openness, flexibility, and also appreciation. Until then, of course, we had values, and the values, the acronym of these values was LORD. So this stands for loyalty, openness, respect, and discipline. And we saw with all these changes that probably it's time also to make new, to define new values. And before this, we had a mission, we had a vision, we have the values, and we had also leadership principles. And out of this, we decided to do this project, and I was happy that I could lead this project, be responsible for this. And then for me, it was important that we do something that everyone, if I ask you what are our values or what is our mission, vision, that you know them. So it was important to reduce complexity, because at this time you ask someone, so tell me what is our mission or what is our leadership principles, or so often they couldn't. So it was there where I said, why we don't have just a purpose, why we stand up every morning. So instead of mission and vision, a strong purpose, and create values.
And let's say the acronym of the new set of values was COACH. Where does COACH stand for?
COACH stands for collaboration, openness, agile, committed, and human. And of course, to develop these COACH values, it was important for us to really work with our staff to see which are the values that we think are important for us in the future. And so then in summer 21, we conducted a management event, this time in person with around 200 people. And we asked them, we worked on them, so which are the important values, and with Mentimeter, we have seen, okay, what is more important than the other. We had group discussions at the tables. And then the same evening, a colleague of mine wrote me an email and said, when I was thinking what we were talking at our table about the values and what is important, if I put these values together, this could be COACH, so the acronym of COACH. And I was totally in love with it. I thought, yes,
it's a super acronym. And it's quite a big change from LORD to COACH, actually. Yeah.
It really represents, I also thought it really represents also the change in the way we work, the change how people are led, so how we lead people. It's really a match.
Can you tell a little bit more about, let's say, the process you follow to identify these values?
So what we have done with the values and the purpose, we conducted different workshops. I have done some workshops with management team members to get their feedback, but then also in the intranet we wrote, we are creating new values and new purpose. If you want to give us feedback, then come to our workshops. And we had many people coming from really different teams, and there we had the possibility to talk with them about our values, about the purpose, and due of that we also made some minor changes. We have seen that the values and purpose was good, and the people found that are the right values. But of course, we also got some feedback that we could do some minor changes, and we also talked with them about how to implement and how to bring them alive. And then at the end of 21, we were like saying, okay, now we are ready. We know that there are the right values, the right purpose. And we had to do all the preparations, of course, then for the rollout.
Yeah. And what I found fascinating, I mean, a number of companies that embark on a similar journey like yours involve external consultants and external consulting firms. But I understand that you and the team at Zurich Airport conducted this entire project completely by yourselves. In other words, it was a completely do-it-yourself type of project. Was it a deliberate choice?
Yeah, one thing is that I really loved to do this process by my own,
Yeah.
and the more I'm engaged in it, or I had like also a clear idea how I wanted a little bit to conduct this process.
It's a
But
strong vision how you envision this to be. Yeah.
yes, yes, that's like this. And another thing is that I think that it's important when you work on your culture that it has to come from inside out. At the end, then for the rollout or for some workshops that I conducted after the rollout, there I worked with an external person, but who was more my that I had someone at my side where I could exchange ideas or get feedbacks or on the ideas that helped. But most of it's really was done internal.
So what I'm also interested in is how did you communicate these new values throughout the organization? So you talked about, let's say, creating coach and defining what coach was, but how do you make 1,700 people aware of these new values? I mean, is it simply a matter of sending them an email and putting some posters on the wall, or can you tell me something about how you implemented that?
Yeah, of course. So by the end of 21, we had the purpose and the values ready, and we knew that we wanted to communicate it in March because there we had a big employee event. So we had like 2.5 months time to prepare the communication. And first, of course, it was important to have the visual idea. So how it's visually done, and luckily we have a great design team internally, and then they come up with a simple but rather funny idea to do a beer coaster. And I don't know if you see it.
Yeah, now you can see it. If you hold it like this, it's perfectly visible. Yeah.
So that's the beer coaster.
Yeah.
And often you say that strategy has to have place on a napkin.
Yeah.
So in our sense, it's on a beer coaster. So we have the purpose. We connect people and places. Yeah. We have the strategy because everything is embedded with the strategy, and we have our values as our base. Yeah. And of course, we produced them, and we added invitation for operas. So we defined a new event. It's called Zusammenkommen zum Opera. So come together for drinks, and we published here the dates.
Yeah.
And the idea behind it was after Corona, we came back from home office, we had new values, when one core value also is collaboration. So working good together, and to work good together, you have to know each other better. You have to understand each other better. And so this new format that we launched, we still do it today. It's like 4 to 5 times a year, and every event is hosted by another team, and then also shows and explains a little bit what is their work or their work environment, so that we get to know each other better. We have really created something where people come together.
But that's a great way to break down, let's say, silos in the organization, right?
Yes, that was really the idea. And then, of course, also we have created some posters, some key visuals, and key visuals were our employees. We made the different photos with employees of us, but always more than one, because it's a collaboration,
team,
it's coming together, team. And then was really important also that we conducted some workshops. So out of the 1,600 employees at this time, 600, everyone who leads, was invited to a value workshop. And the CEO and I, we conducted like 7. So we have done 7 workshops, always half a day, where we really had time to work on the values, to discuss also, and at the core was what from our behavior of today we want to see more in the company, and what do we want to see less in the company. Then we also run a survey internally for where we ask how all the values are lived today, to just have like the base to see if we improve in the future or not, but also to see where probably we have teams who live the values already really good, and to see in which teams probably you have to work more on the values.
Yeah.
And then we also launched the Value Weeks. That was in a year later, 23. And the Value Weeks, the idea of the Value Weeks is that we give time to experience the values. And it takes 2 weeks. So during 2 weeks, we offer different activities where you can engage with the values. And the core activity is that the different teams offer like visits to their teams, so tours. So as an employee, I can choose 2 visits, and we give the time that you can go there, and they explain you, the different teams explain you what is their daily work, etc. And then of course we communicate a lot around it.
Are these values also embedded in HR processes? So, for instance, do they play a role in recruitment, performance management, talent management? Can you tell me something about, let's say, how the cultural values are integrated?
Yeah, after that we communicated the values, this was an important thing to think about, where everywhere will you experience the values, and how can we implement the values in our HR processes. So in recruiting, for example, of course we changed our online presence for the recruiting, where we really talk about our values. But when we do recruiting, we also look after the cultural fit, because it's more important that you hire the people for attitude. And then in performance review, at this time we were changing our performance review tool. And we implemented the new one like this, that the values, that you also give feedbacks to the values. So you have your personal goals, and then the values, and on the values, the employee and the manager give each other feedback. So it's not only that me as a leader give feedback to my employees. Yeah. So I also get the feedbacks of the values. So this allows the minimum once a year. You have to talk about how do you live the values. And then the last thing, we developed now a leadership program. So in the next 2 to 3 years, all our leaders will go through a leadership program that takes 10 days. And in this leadership program, the basis of our leadership program is value-based leadership. So we talked about there are many leadership methodologies, like host leadership or servant leadership. Or
a lot of different concepts.
Concepts, and for us it's value-based leadership.
You already mentioned, let's say, that you measure the impact of the culture change, let's say through regular surveys. What I'm curious about is, can you also give an example of one or more decisions that were taken thanks, let's say, to that new set of values and new culture you adopted? So, in other words, did you do something or didn't you do something as a result of, let's say, implementing these new cultural values?
For us, the cultural values, it's the base, of course. And what we really have done in the last year, it's working a lot on our working conditions. For example, we have seen that shift working is getting more and more. So less and less people want to work shift,
Yeah.
for example. So we really worked on how can we support, how can we do shift working more attractive, and we also made some decisions, or you can say on the other side, where you experience a lot our values is when something is not done or is done that is more against our values. So you hear people saying or telling, but this is not
No,
coach. So we
no.
shouldn't do this because
Yeah.
this is not
So
coach.
people start to hold each other accountable.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's true. And in coach, it's also the factor of human. Of course, human has a lot to do also with the appreciation, and so we are really also working on this appreciation and saying for people it's important to take over responsibility, that they can take their own decisions, that we create an environment where they really can do their best job. And that's also everything, yeah, I would say based on coach.
If you take a step back, because you also worked, let's say, in a completely different industry, to which degree would you say that the coach model is, let's say, unique for an airport, or do you think it's a kind of a generic set of values that you could base in any industry? In other words, is there a kind of industry specific element to it?
No, it's not a specific element to it, to the airline industry. I think these values that we have or the way or are important in a time where everything is getting faster, collaboration is getting more important, where you have to be more flexible, where you have a lifelong learning. And this has what's the same for us, and I think also the other industries, is that we are really now facing big changes. And if you look again at the mega trends, if you see the demographic change that is happening, that is of course also affecting us and all the others also, but also the speed and the change of digitalization and artificial intelligence. So we are now in a time where we really have to adapt quickly, and where do we have to have an open mind to change, to learn, to adapt. And I think this is important for every company.
Thank you very much, Manuela, for sharing this inspiring story with us. It was
Yes.
great having you as a guest.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to share the experience of the last 3 years. Thank you.
Nah, super. Well, thank you very much, and yeah, looking forward to seeing and speaking you again soon.
Yeah,
Bye
me too.
bye.
Thank you, Dirk. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.